Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, you already know me, and this is Five Slow Stroking the Podcast, episode 80. So we've come a long way, and I appreciate you all staying tuned in, son, and just listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever you're listening on, or if you stream on YouTube. I still appreciate that, son. But I want to say this, son. There is a new NFT that dropped this week, right? And it's called Bored Ape Bored Ape Cronos Club, son. The NFT is pretty much a spinoff of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right, son? And they have a supply of 10,000. It's on the Crow blockchain. So if you have crypto.com, they have a wallet, and it's CROX.io is the website where you could access that market for it. Son, I think it's actually pretty tough, and it's like I think the theme of it is like somewhere like almost like Game of Thrones, so that type of concept, but kind of looks exactly the same as you can see. But yeah, that's that. And before I go ahead and get into the rest of the stuff, I want to say this, son. I'm not a financial advisor. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I appreciate that, son. Also, check out my links below: Robinhood, Webull, Voyager, and Crypto.com, son. All get free stuff when you sign up using those links. So yeah, get into that, son. But let's move forward, right, son? I want to talk to you first about CROX. Then we're going to talk about Snap, Twitter, stuff like that, right, son? But CROX, right? I noticed CROX has pulled back quite a bit, son. And I used to say that my buy-in zone for CROX was around 115, 110. And now CROX is like at a pretty good price. So me personally, I've been buying in under $99. And I think that CROX is going to be very interesting come, next week, not the week coming up, but next week, right? Because they have earnings on the 16th. And I do anticipate a gap up, a bullish gap up, if the market is, doing well, right, son? You know how we had a lot of the companies this week pop up, especially Google. Google took off this week, son. Even Snapchat took off. I'm going to talk about that as well, right, son? But I do see CROX potentially popping off to about $117, $120. That'd be ideal. And that is a nice $21 gap up, right, son? If that happens, you know what I'm saying if CROX decides to follow and like just consolidate where it is now, I think that we'd be seeing some pretty good profit on the contracts, right? Remember, CROX has a monthly expiration, so I think the expiration for CROX would be on the 18th of February. So that's the next expiration, and then it goes into March. So also think about that when you're playing CROX. So the contracts for the 18th will start to be very cheap come this week. So maybe you can get in at a closer strike price and, play your hand, right, son? But let's move forward, son. Speaking of earnings, right? Snap, like I said, they posted positive numbers on its first report in 2022, which brought an end to its temporary downside, right, son? So Snap was kind of like falling down a bit, and like not that I thought Snap was over with, but I just kind of felt like people were just like, Snap is what it is, and we're not gonna be too concerned about it. So we'll just kind of like forget it, right, son? But nah, that's really not what happened, son. Snap found the zone to consolidate in a little bit on the daily, son, between 129, 134. It broke down to not 139. I meant $34 and $29, right, son? And it gapped down to $25, son. And then it just took off on its earnings, right, son? From $25 to $40, son, in just 2 days. It left a major gap on the downside. I think it's like $26.50 to $34.30, son. And, gaps do get filled. So if that gap gets filled, the coming weeks, then that's gonna, be a good opportunity maybe to start buying. But also, I want to point out this: there's also a large gap to fill on the upside from $61 to $74, right, son? And you can see that on the daily is actually two sides to the gap. So another part of the gap starts at like $63, and it goes up to about $74, and then the other gap, both of the gaps like end at like $74, but one gap starts at $63.85 and the other one starts at like, was it $61? So I think those gaps will definitely get filled. However, you know what I'm saying, we just gotta wait and see if Snap continues to be bullish, you know what I'm saying, then okay, I'll play for Snap to go ahead and fill that gap to $74. But if we get a lot of consolidation, then I'll just anticipate the gap on the downside being, filled, and then we go ahead for the upside joint. And there's other gaps on the upside as well. So yeah, I think that'll be good. But it's just a battle of which gap will get filled first, right, son? Next, because we had Snap and Pinterest, post some good earnings, it gets me thinking about Twitter, right, son? So Twitter is reporting earnings on Thursday. Based off of Snap, I think we can expect bullish numbers. There's one gap on Twitter. Let me go ahead over here. Oh, my bad. I messed up something. Oops. Oh, crap. And go. All right, cool. So on Twitter, there's actually another thing, right? And the thing about Twitter is I don't see gaps. There's only one gap, and that's around in the $60 range. But I do think that Twitter will be very valid, right, son? They created a gap on Thursday towards Friday, yeah, because that's when Snap took off. So there was actually a gap there. However, that gap got filled with a wick. So there was a wick came down on Friday to fill that gap. And I do think that Twitter will take off, similar to how Snapchat took off. And we'll see some decent upsides. I know Twitter contracts are not that expensive right now, even Twitter shares. So if you wanted to play the share side, I would say go for it. Go ahead, buy some shares in Twitter and make moves with it, right, son? And I'm personally looking at that joint too. And one thing about looking at this chart is the moving averages, right, son? If you look at this 5 EMA and you look at the 20 EMA, if that 5 EMA crosses that 20 EMA, son, will be very valid, son. And I do think that will kind of get us to that $40 range. So that's really what I'm looking to play. Not really too interested in earnings, but these last few earnings have been pretty interesting. So I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to take heed and see what's up with it. But yeah, son. As far as that, like I said, the NFTs, CROX, Snap, Twitter, those are the ones that I'm really looking at, son. Also, I'm still looking at Teladoc and Beyond Meats. I think those two are inevitable. It's definitely going to happen, definitely going to take off. It's just a matter of time, right? If you're playing those on the option side, give yourself enough time for expiration. And if you're playing on the share side, well, just hold. You already know how it go. Also, looking at crypto, right? Some Bitcoin went to 42K and Ethereum is above 3K. So I'm liking what I'm seeing on the crypto side as well. So my crypto portfolio is, legging up again, and we love to see it, right? Also, I would say this: don't sleep on Litecoin, because Litecoin is very underrated. So yeah, definitely don't sleep on Litecoin. There's a lot of other coins that I'd love to get into, but I'm not going to. But yeah, son, that's that. But look, son, you already know how it goes, son. Enjoy your weekend. Holler at me if you need me. But I gotta go. Oof.